All right, so I've killed the Elliot Page look finally, and I'm embracing full fruit mode. I'm back for UFC Vegas 89, I think it is now. Fucking Apex cards, and we have 2 more after this before UFC 300, bearing a quick pit stop at Atlantic City in a few weeks. Get fucked. All right, like and subscribe. Let's just get this one over with. All right, first fight on the card, we've got USMAN versus PARKIN at heavyweight. A pair of bottom feeder heavyweights. I'm so glad we're back to doing this shit. Fucking hell. I'm going to take Mohammed Usman, the underdog. Some of you will be surprised by this because I've ragged on Usman so much on this channel, and he is bollocks. However, PARKIN is a fat mess of a man with no cardio. His fight with Cal Machado was a disgrace. I thought he arguably lost that one. His striking is basically his main asset, and I don't think he can chin Usman, who will push him against the cage probably and make it ugly. I think this fight's going to be terrible, but I'm going to take Usman to grind this out and piss everyone else off in the process. Next. All right, fight number 2. We've got a flyweight scrap between Da Silva and Lima. 2 flyweights, as I said, coming off the Contender Series. Both young, both undefeated. This should be taking place in a fucking parking lot at this stage of their careers. Or maybe in a playground. They're both little kids. Not in the biggest organization in the West, but, you know, whatever. I'm going to take Andre Lima. I really liked his win against 14-1 Rixim Zenedim. He looked pretty good. I just think he looks more technical than Da Silva. Da Silva does have a nice variety of wins in his career. You know, he's got a few submissions, a few KOs, and I expect he's going to be a tough out. I'd avoid the bet on this one on all, at all costs, but I'm going to side with Lima based on the eye test. I think he's more technically sound. All right, fight number 3, bantamweights. We've got Rendon and Zelenkova. All right. I'm going to take the Russian, Zelenkova. She's a way better striker. She's younger, and Rendon is old and shit, and a clam hugger. I think the Russian's going to stuff a few takedowns and then beat the fuck out of her. Well, you know, in the relative way that women do. I like her to win this one on damaged base volume. They are women, so over 2.5 isn't a bad shout either. Rendon is meh, but she's tough, and the clinching will probably drain the clock. Yeah, the Russian, man. Fuck this card. All right, next one, we've got featherweights. We've got ERRENS versus NGUYEN. This one's fine, I guess. I'm going to take NGUYEN. He's more powerful and the more active striker, and I just think he has a better chance of hurting ERRENS than ERRENS has of hurting him in parts of his fight. ERRENS has 2 UFC fights and lost to Gomi by split, and I think that guy sucks. And he lost to Song-Woo Choi, who just got bonged in his last one. Neither loss while by decision is really a good look to me. The problem is that the last time NGUYEN fought, he stopped AJ Cunningham, took him to the 2nd round to do so, and that guy is also garbage. This is going to be scrappy, close. I wouldn't bet on NGUYEN at -200, but I think he's going to land more damage in this one, I guess. Should be kind of fun. All right, next one, bantamweights. We've got Johns versus Gibson. Now, firstly, I just want to say, after Gibson's fight of the night loss in the final of TUF, I'm glad he's getting another shot to fight in the UFC. He puts on fun fights, and I really want him to win, but he's just too hittable. Miles Johns is a Roy cheat and is taking this on short notice, so I hope he gets slapped up. But there is a risk there, you know, with him taking it short notice, and the odds are the way they are because of that. I see this one again being pretty scrappy and actually could be really fun. But again, I think Johns, you know, as the shorter guy and the more stocky and powerful, I can see him getting the scoring moments in round 1 and 2. And then the 3rd being close as he inevitably gasses out. I hope he gets battered, the cheating little prick. But yeah, while Gibson is tough as nails, I think he gets rocked a few times. And the judges side with the juice head. Again, should be a fun one though. All right, next one up, we've got Ramos and EROSA at featherweight. This one is reasonably straightforward, I guess, as well. Ramos is quite dumb, but EROSA has no chin anymore, so I think Juicy J is going to get sparked out. He's been in so many wars. He's coming off getting chinned by Padillo, who we will talk about later on the card. By the way, I kind of think the UFC is a little bit cold for doing this. So often we get fighters sharing a card with someone they've just been melted by. I've noticed this happens quite a lot. It can't be good for the confidence to walk into an arena or go to the fighter meetings the day before and see the guy that just folded your shit. They have a common opponent in Charles Jourdain. EROSA beat him and Ramos just lost to him. I just think that Juicy J has no chin, and Ramos hopefully doesn't stick his chin out like a Mong this time and get choked. I'm going to take Ramos. No confidence. As I said, he's very dumb. All right, next one up, we've got a lightweight scrap between HOLOBAUGH and Ogden. This one's kind of tricky. HOLOBAUGH has fought 5 times in 5 years, but is coming off a bit of a wave after winning tough with some nice wins along the way. He's a decent wrestler. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. Is quite scrappy and tough on the feet. Now, Ogden is coming off one of the worst no-contest robberies I've seen in a long time. He was beating the shit out of Nicholas Motta for all 3 rounds and was cruising to a decision. He got him in a choke in the 3rd, and the ref stopped it early. So, called it a no contest. Pretty sure it was Tanyoni, that brain-dead fucking simpleton. I had Ogden on a fucking parlay that night as an underdog, and it got wiped, so I remember being really pissed. I want him to get a win, but the MMA gods are cruel, and I think that while he is a good wrestler, HOLOBAUGH is more of a threat on the ground, so I think he kind of has more ways to win. This is a pick 'em for a reason, and you can get this at plus 200 to go over 1.5, so I'm playing it safe and going with that. HOLOBAUGH has more ways to win, but I think it gets scrappy and goes long. Alright, so here's an overview of the prelims on the screen. If I'm picking anything to build a parlay on, I would stick USMAN on as a dog, the Russian girl DARIYA, and Miles Johns. The rest are kind of risky coin tosses to me, so those are the 3 I'd go with if I'm building parlays for this card. Alright, so on to the opener of the main card. We've got featherweights, Padilla and PAJUELO. It's occurring to me now that this card is actually not that bad. This one, again, should be pretty fun. PAJUELO is the wild KO striker that pressures forward, brings a lot of thunder. And Padilla is the rangy, more technical sniper. I'm going to edge Padilla, but this is another one I'd probably leave alone. I think he's going to use his range and snipe PAJUELO, and has a decent enough chin to survive moments of adversity if he does get caught with something wild. I think he gets it done late or on the scorecards potentially. But again, I like this one. It should and could be a really good scrap. All right, next one up, we've got more featherweights. We've got Billy Quarantillo versus Yusuf ZELAL. Again, potentially really good. Maybe this card doesn't suck as much as I thought. All right, so ZELAL started out really well in the UFC. Is pretty young, about 28 years old, I think. Is young. He got a nice win streak going to start his UFC career out, and then hit a bit of a wall. Now, in his last 2 with the UFC, he suffered a split loss with Sean Woodson, which, let's be real, has aged really well. And he also got a draw with Damon Blackshear, and then he got kicked out of the UFC and packed off to the regionals, which I thought was a little bit harsh. He's since smashed 3 cans in a row and has made his way back to the UFC. Now, Billy got melted by Barbosa a fight ago, but, it's Barbosa. He got way too excited in there and got caught with a knee up against the fence. But then he bounced back against Damon Jackson, who is... he's all right, I guess. I'm going to go out on a limb here, actually, after going back and forth on this one. And I'm going to take ZELAL. Everyone is picking Billy Q, and that makes me suspicious considering how close this potentially could be on paper. I feel like this is a bit of a betting plant to me. ZELAL is younger. He's taken time off to humble himself and improve, and is in a great gym at Factory X. And I think he's going to eke out a close decision, or maybe wins by a betting robbery. I'm testing out a little bit of a theory here, so let's see how it goes. The overall 2.5 is a great one too. Both these guys are pretty tough. All right, next one up, we've got Talbot versus SAAIMON. This is the fight for me, and the fight of the card that I'm looking the most forward to. Again, I'm going to go against everyone here, and I'm going to pick Cameron SAAIMON. Now, Talbot is a really good striker and has that kind of star quality about him. Not sure what the hollow tattoo in the middle of his chest is all about. Looks like shit. If you're a Bleach fan, you're going to get that reference. I think he's going to be a better striker than SAAIMON. But what bothers me about this guy, watching him in his last one, is that his takedown defense absolutely sucks, and he has zero get-up game, and he wears nail polish. SAAIMON is not a bad striker, and if Nick Aguirre is keeping you down on the ground, you're going to struggle with SAAIMON, who has a chin and is very slick down there in the way he transitions. I love this fight. It's a scrap between two great prospects. I think Talbot's actually going to win the first round clearly, and then gasses out and gets out-wrestled and abused on the ground in rounds 2 and 3. I'm taking the dog SAAIMON to get an upset win in this one. I'm ready for the abuse. All right, now we're on to the feature fight between EDMEN, Shahbazi, and Dobson. And then the card falls off a fucking cliff again. This is going to be the part where I'm mentally checking out and literally dying on stream live for the drunk along. I'm not going to get too deep into this one just because I don't really care. I'm going to take EDMEN Shahbazi to win just because he finally abandoned that mongoloid retard coach he was working with and is actually at a decent gym at Couture now. He's younger. He's fought way better guys. He has lost 4 in 5, but, you know, look at the competition. Fluffy Hernandez, killer. Imavov, killer. Hermansson, Wiley Vet. Derek Brunson. All right, never mind. Dobson, though, only beat Tafon Nachukwi, who was fucking awful. So I'm going to assume that EDMEN has worked on things and will bounce back here and beat an older, non-amazing guy who's fought nobody. Risky, though. You know, EDMEN's... he hasn't lived up to anything. All right, on to the co-main event. We've got Williams versus TAFA at heavyweight. I was going to pick Williams, but I have a weird feeling about this one. He can't strike and has a very chain wrestling heavy style, but he's got no finishing ability on the ground. So I'm basing this on the feeling that TAFA will have more than one opportunity to hammer swing Williams' face into orbit. Now, Williams might take him down, but if he tries and doesn't manage it like straight away, TAFA's going to light his ass up. If he does get him to the ground, he tends to lay on you and just try and squash you. And that means for me that TAFA's likely to get another chance when it gets back standing. Either, you know, going into round 2 or TAFA potentially pushing his way up in round 1. This is going to either suck enormous ass or we're going to get a viral KO. I'm living in hope and taking TAFA to break this boring cunt's face for MMA. Right, now on to the main event. We've got Ribas versus Namajunas. Yeah, this is happening. I'm going to go with Rose Namajunas, obviously. If she loses this, it's over for her. And for that reason, I kind of hope it happens. I dislike her very much. I think she's a boring fucking oddball. She robbed Zhang in their second fight, and the MMA god stepped in when she tried to bore us all into a coma with that fight with Carla in what I consider to be the worst MMA fight in history. I basically laughed until I pissed myself that night when she didn't get the decision. I genuinely think she then ran to flyweight to avoid fighting Zhang again. Now, she did just lose to Fioro and got manhandled a little bit. She said she broke her hand, like whatever. And, but you know, up until that point, she didn't really look that great. On the other hand, though, I think she's way better than Ribas, who is kind of fun, like scrappy striker, but just not as good as Rose anywhere. And for me, it's as simple as that. I think Rose is going to piece her up and finish her later in the fight, or shuts her out, winning at least 4 rounds. If she loses, she will retire 100%, and yeah, I hope it happens. All right, so overview of the main card now. Again, if I'm adding anything to a parlay, I'd probably go Billy and ZELAL to go over 2.5 and Namajunas. The rest of them are tricky landmines that could go any which way, in my opinion. All right, so we're going to be back for a live watch-along, drunk-along on Saturday night. I've got a few videos coming up over the next few days. As always, like and subscribe. I appreciate everyone who does so. Thanks to everyone as always. And yeah, nobody's is watching this card, but if you are a purist and you've been watching this one, congratulations. You are an MMA hardcore. To be fair, the card is not as bad as everyone's saying. Kind of. Peace.